Good evening හැමෝටම Leo GenX project එකේ second session එක workshop එකේ video editing workshop එක අපේ club එකේ member කෙනෙක් ඒ වගේම ගොඩාක් club එකට resource person කෙනෙක් අපේ Akila Dissanayake Hotmello private limited එකේ CEO. ඉතින් Akila welcome කරනවා club එක වෙනුවෙන්. Thank you අපේ invitation එක බාරගත්තට. එහෙනම් session එක ඔයගලන්ට ගොඩක් වැදගත් වෙයි. Akila, over to you. You can continue.
All right, thanks, Malati. I'm audible.
Yes, I am.
Okay. First of all, thanks Kata Karada. So me mulu session එක පුරාම සමහර විට අතරින් පතර මේ coffee එකත් ඒ ගණන් ගන්න එපා. මට තව medication ගන්න බෑ. Okay. අපි කතා කරන්න පටන් ගන්නේ අපිට තියෙන කතා කරන්න වීඩියෝ එඩිටින් ගැන but මම හිතුවා අපි වීඩියෝ එඩිටින් වලට වඩා මේක තව ටිකක් ඉස්සරහට ගිහිල්ලා අපි වීඩියෝග්‍රැෆි ගැනම පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න. අපිට පොඩි කාලයක් තියෙනවා 2 hours වගේ. So ඔයාලට පේනවද දන්නේ presentation එක. නෑ. Okay. Okay. Excuse me, Vanita, put up on the main presentation display.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Okay. So we're gonna start with videography. So this is the table of context. So I'm gonna explain it to you about what is photography, what is videography, the types of cameras we are using for do video stuff, and maybe an important aspect of videography, which is the rule of third, and the importance of lighting as well. The significance of clear and high quality audio, which I'm going to show you like in the middle of the video. Basic camera movements and techniques. The importance of planning before shooting. Introduction to video editing and softwares. Integrating audio tracks to enhance the video. Exporting videos in different formats and recordings. Resolutions. Common mistakes in videography and how to avoid those stuff. And maybe you can ask me some questions in the end of the session. Okay. All right. So when it comes to videography, videography means capturing moving images on a video, which means it can be anything that happens in the day-to-day life. So you could also use this to do storytelling, maybe to communicate and to do visual expressions. And you can use a ton of various cameras. I'll be explaining the types of cameras you can use to do the recordings and everything. So also I'm going to explain to you about the importance of lighting in this lighting when it comes to videography. And yeah, this is actually a very good way that I will explaining this. This can be used for storytelling, communication, and this is actually a very creative tool for amateurs as well as professionals. Okay. Sorry guys. Sorry for this. Okay. The importance of videography in modern communication. So as I told you, this can be used for storytelling, and you can use what I do right now is I'm making an impact for the audience. So maybe you can use videography to do your own stuff, as well as you can use it to help others to get inspired from you. And also I use, maybe in my case, I use photography and videography for marketing, education, maybe a little bit for journalism, and most of the time I utilize this for entertainment. So moving on. So for a beginner, I could say, for a beginner, you can use various types of cameras, and what you need, the most essential thing you need to have, like when it comes to videography, is you need to have a camera. It doesn't have to be the exact, maybe a better camera, like maybe it doesn't have to be a DSLR, can be a mobile phone as well. Or it's better if you can have a tripod or a stabilizer, which I use. I'll be explaining what the items that I've been using this long, and what I'm encouraged, or what I'm planning to use on in the future, and maybe some external microphones, and I'll be showing you those stuff as well. And like the most important aspect, one of the most important aspects of videography, which is lighting. Okay, so when it comes to types of cameras, there are cameras such as cameras like the one you can see in the presentation, which is camcorders, and maybe DSLR cameras or mirrorless. So when it comes to camcorders, people used to think that this is the best type of camera because it tends to look huge, and but to me, I've been using this for maybe like 2-3 years now, but I prefer DSLRs or maybe mirrorless cameras over this one, because these cameras, they have like way smaller sensors, which can affect for the quality of the video. So I'll rather use DSLRs or mirrorless cameras rather than camcorders. So you have an understanding about DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. So moving on to cinema cameras, these are the cameras that are usually been used to record high-end videos, or maybe Hollywood productions, Hollywood movies. So now in the days, even in Sri Lanka, there's not plenty of cameras like these in the field, since the major reason being these are super expensive. I mean, each and every element of this camera can cost up to maybe 80 million, 90 million or something. Yeah, so these cameras, you might know about these ones. Very practical. You can stick this around in any of your you can use any sort of mount to mount this on your, even in your chest, on your mouth. Actually, you can even mount this on your head to get this first person perspective. Plus these are like quite rigid equipment, so you can use this for like any sort of action movements or anything. So, plus the best part is being this camera is super small, so you can just tuck it in anywhere. And this, you guys must be like quite familiar with the mobile phones, but yeah. So these ones, we back in the days, we were like quite hesitant to use these cameras, since they didn't have like quite big sensors on it, and that could be like affect the quality of the video. So but with the time, the developers, they just enhance the quality of the sensor, and now it seems that you can do like massive video productions with these ones. And yeah, moving on to 360-degree cameras. These are like quite new to the industry, but this can be utilized for like many occasions, such as you can so you might know the Google Maps. There's an element called Street View. So the Street View thing is mainly done by 360 cameras, where you can take the photo first, and later on you can pan it around and see what's going on in the instance, and that is really cool. And you can also use this for 3D tracking. plus you can track map any house. So this is actually a different type of camera, but the utilization is like quite different from the other cameras, but it is very helpful and efficient. And these, I guess, are my favorite category. Drones. So back in the days, we had drones. They were like, they weren't quite okay, but since the sensors back in the days were like quite small, but now same as the mobile phones, they come with great sensors and cameras, plus the protection, which means that the cameras now they develop, they come with omnidirectional sensing. So even though we want to crash these drones, they won't crash. So they are like quite sophisticated, and yeah, I like this stuff. And moving on to rule of third and its significance in the videography. Okay, so you might have heard this rule of third. So it means that the frame is divided horizontally and vertically, divided into 3 parts. So you have to frame, frame your occasion according to the, you have to use those guidelines to frame your scenery. So that is basically it. There's a catch in here. So you always have to make sure that you either leave like 2/3 of the, maybe if you consider we are taking a photo of the sea, we have to leave the horizon, we have to leave every part above the horizon either 2/3 or 1/3, and the rest goes the same ways, 2/3 or 1/3. And yeah, key elements, lesson on lines, intersections. So that mean that when it comes to the rule of third, we have to place the subject, which in this picture is this little girl. She stays in this intersection points. So you either have to take it to the, let me show you. You either have to frame her in this frame, this line, or both these intersections, or this line. So I prefer, I mean, in this case, she's looking this way. She's looking over to her right side. So if she's looking at her right side, it's better to leave some space in the right rather than the other way around. So I would do it this way, that the exact same way as the picture. And it's all about balancing. Okay. So when it comes to the rule of third, back in the day, it was really hard. You had to, draw lines on the screens, and maybe lines in the sense grids. You had to draw grids in the screens, and thereby you had to adjust everything. But nowadays, the cameras itself come up with these grids integrated, so you don't have to worry about marking lines by yourself manually. Yeah, that's basically it. So then impact on shots, enhance short. Yeah, as I told you, I mean, if this leaving the subjects on these intersections can make the storytelling really nice and maybe professional as well. So moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So you might know how to frame an element and maybe do everything about the rule of third, go along with the rule of third, but you should know how to balance your camera settings before you move on to maybe go to technical aspects. But this is a must that you should know before you do a professional work, or professional work. So you have to make sure that you record this in the perfect resolution in the sense the number of pixels that make up a video's image quality. That means a more resolution is better. More the resolution, better the quality. and the frame rate, which means that the video frame rate is the number of video frames displayed per second, determining the smoothness of the motion. Like if you have this 800, yeah, maybe super high, I would say super high, it's gonna record every frame. But if you have it low, the video is gonna look stuttered. So it's better to have it like intermediate rather than crank it up all the way up or down. The exposure. This is a must to know. I mean, you can tweak around with the frame rate and resolution, but if you have the exposure wrong, the entire clip's gonna look wrong. So you shouldn't be underexposing your image or exposing. So there are certain elements you have to adjust in your camera in order to increase the exposure up and down. I would say ISO levels. If you increase it up, it's gonna expose the footage a lot. So you always have to keep it like in a balanced position where you can where it can be quite easy for the editing software to do the adjustments later on. Moving on to the we're going to talk about how to handle a camera when you do video recording. So you can I'll be demonstrating that with the camera I got, which is A7 IV, also mirrorless camera. So you can use both hands. Usually it's way better to use the camera with both of your hands rather than just letting go. I do that often, but it is not the right way. So it's better to use the camera, hold your camera with both your hands and hold it in your grip very hard. So it's gonna stay still and do the recording real well. And also that question. Plus, in the meantime, you can ask me any question if you have any doubts. Okay. All right. You can interrupt me. It's all good. You can while you can stop breathing for a while. Maybe you can steadily breathe to make it make the camera easy for you don't have to shake the camera. If you breathe in in a high rate, it's gonna shake up the camera. So it's better if you can breathe like real smoothly, steadily. And elbows in is this way. So rather than just going elbows upwards, you can tuck it down here, which can also make the footage quite smooth. So you don't, even though your body shakes, the camera the camera doesn't tend to react on the body shake. So you can hold it firmly on the camera and the footage is gonna look good. So also you can use tripods and gimbals. So you might have seen gimbals. These are the gimbals. You can put your camera on this the top part and maybe let the camera go to the adjustment. There's some few tweaks you have to do about on top of the after setting the camera in. So once you're done, the stabilizer is going to stabilize the footage real well. So I highly recommend this. So it's always better to use a stabilizer rather than a tripod, because you can't just carry the tripod, right? So it's always better to use stabilizer, where you can carry the stabilizer, take some amazing shots, and once you're done, you can even leave it in the floor and still use it as a tripod. And so it's slow movements. So it's always better to rather than doing some vigorous movements, it's nice if you do the movements super slow, where it's gonna where the footage is gonna look quite smooth. So you might be thinking if there's something wrong people do. When I've seen this, I've seen a lot of amateurs do this, even even using their phones. So people used to record in this way, this manner, which is the portrait mode, and later on they turn it to a landscape mode. They must be thinking, I mean, they might be thinking that the video is going to turn upright, not upright in the horizontal way, but it's not going to happen. Like if it starts, if the video starts in the portrait position, it's going to continue in portrait position, no matter what, no matter if you turn left or right or horizontal, vertical, it's going to stick the same way. So it's better. You should always make sure that you start the video horizontally and go on that way. But there are instances where you have to start the video vertically, sorry, horizontally. Vertically, which is a portrait mode, and you have to keep recording in the portrait mode. If you have to change it, you have to switch it off, switch the recording off, and you have to switch it back and start the recording in the horizontal way rather than doing it in the midway. Yeah, that's one thing that amateur photographers and videographers do. Not the photographers, actually, videographers do, and that's going to make your footage really bad and unusable most of the time. And yeah, there are some elements you have to think about leaning on against surface where you basically eliminate your movements. And yeah, one more thing, avoid zooming. So you can do it while you're recording on your phone, but when it comes to professional videography, you shouldn't be zooming at all. But what you can do is you should be moving back and forth. You should be the one who's moving, not zooming. Like if you do the zooming, it's gonna create some shakes when you rotate the zoom wheel. So this happens when it comes to regular videography cameras such as DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. So it's better if you can avoid that. So the last part, which is the most important part, you have to consider everything and you have to practice this every time. So if you do the practice, you're gonna win it. Okay, moving on to framing techniques. So as I told you, there are like three types of frames. One, which is the number one, is which is wide shot. Wide means you capture the whole the bigger context. Wide angle shots capture broad view, showing more of the scene, enhancing depth. Okay, so which means that if you got a camera and a lens that can capture wide angle view, you shouldn't be capturing anyone's face. Okay, there are specific lenses to capture faces or maybe capture details, not the 14mm wide angle lens to capture the faces. Okay, so you should be using this to let the viewer think about a broad view. So the medium shot shots frames the subject from waist up, providing context while maintaining a personal connection. So which means that basically it takes a waist up photo, and maybe you could say waist up video that shows off the person's personality. And yeah, you had to make sure that you use the correct lens in this scenario. So that's what I told you initially. We shouldn't be using wide angle lens to capture someone's face, or the other way around. Like you shouldn't be using the portrait lens to capture a broad view. It's in ways. That's the reason you should be carrying like a couple of lenses instead of just one. Okay. So the close-up shots focus on small details, intensifying emotions and emphasizing specific subject. So as I told you, if you got this portrait or a what do you call it? There's a type of lenses called macro. So macro lenses are also considered as close-up lenses, where they usually come with 50mm focal length or 85mm focal length, or most of the time 105mm focal length. So they used to capture like details and have a significant zoom on it. So those lenses are used to capture the close-up. So you had to recognize these three different lenses and shots. So as I told you, the lighting is the most important, one of the most important key elements when it comes that can be like quite beneficial as well for videography. So yeah, considering the venue I'm in right now, there's multiple light sources around me, and there's one up in the slab actually. So if I just turn these two off, it's gonna create a different environment. Plus, it's gonna create a moody environment actually. So these strobes, these video lights can create a different dynamic. Okay, so it should be there are like various, I mean, many types of light sources and lighting techniques you should know, and each and every light that falls upon you can create a different mood. So you should be knowing about that as well. And actually the lighting is crucial in videography as it affects the mood, visibility, and overall quality of the image. So consider this: you got the camera, you don't have any light. So in that scenario, you're gonna lose a ton of details. Plus, you're gonna be like quite stressful on your camera. So there are cameras that are struggling to do the video if the light that are if the light of the environment is quite low. So you shouldn't be stressing your camera as well. So it's always better to have some good lights around you if you're doing a professional video. Okay. So proper lighting enhances storytelling and ensures a professional looking and result. Okay, that's what I told you. So there are basically two types of lights. One is the natural lights. The other one is artificial lights. So mainly in the daytime, we use soft lights, soft flattering and free lights, which comes through curtains and everything. So you can use the light, maybe the natural light, right? I'm talking about natural, or you can also say ambient light. So these lights, they usually come from reflecting to other surfaces, and it's gonna bounce up on other surfaces and fall on your face and everywhere. So capturing that can be really helpful. And yeah, if you have it's always better to have a like reflective surface rather than having black surfaces. Reflective in the sense white. White surfaces, they tend to absorb the least amount of sunlight, so it's going to reflect on you. So it's better to have maybe a whiteboard. So you don't even have to have a light source if you got plenty of light from what you call light from the sun straight. Okay, the artificial lights. Okay, those are controlled light sources for consistent and customizable videography illumination. So in this instance, I'm using like a couple of strobes to light up my scenario, light up this scenario. So we can control those lights, maybe switch it on and switch it off, maybe increase and decrease the Kelvin levels. So these are like quite easy when it comes to controlling, but I prefer natural lights rather than using the artificial lights. Okay. The significance of clear and high quality audio. So I hope you hear me well, because I'm using a Rode microphone at the moment. I wish I could show you, but it's hidden to the laptop. So clear and high quality audio is essential in videography for effective storytelling, engaging audience, and conveying emotions with crystal clear sound. So that is a key aspect, important point, important element in when it comes to videography. No matter you can say you got a better camera, you got all the lightings and everything, but if you don't have this element, which is the audio, which is a better audio, you're gonna lose everything. It's not gonna create a nice professional outcome. So it's always better to have invest some time on better audio rather than just letting the camera record by itself. Okay. So there are 3 types of microphones. Number one is on camera, where you can stick the microphone on your camera. Or also you can say stereo cameras where the camera itself has a microphone. I don't recommend buying or investing any dime on those stuff. You can invest some dime on buying a better microphone. So lavalier mics where you can stick on your collars. That's a good one as well. So they have been used when it comes to a lot of interviews and the shotgun microphone. You can see shotgun microphones in movie productions most of the time. Okay, the importance of planning before shooting. So this is actually very crucial when it comes to the quality outcome of the video. So planning before shooting ensures the efficient use of time and resource, resulting in well-organized footage, coherent storytelling, and smoother post-production process. So ultimately, yielding a more successful video product. That's what I told you. So if you invest some time to check what's going on, like you have to be seeing your future. Like you should be going out there and checking what's going on. You have to make sure that you have got the right equipment, you got the right tools, right settings set up, and maybe you have to make sure that everything is on point. And thereby you have to have this foresight as well. Foresight in the sense you know what's going on you should know what's going on in the future. So thereby you can get a pretty nice outcome. So storyboarding and shortlist for organized filming. So storyboarding creates a visual plan, while shortlist details required shots. Both ensures organized filming, efficient production, and consistent storytelling, which means that when it comes to directions, most of the time directors that is a pretty hard thing, but still it can be a really nice touch when it comes to storytelling. So before you start the whole production thing, you can actually tick down what's going on, and maybe you can sketch up which shot you're gonna take. And sometimes in certain movies, those directors, they got sketchbooks filled with sketches, books with pages exceeding like 600, 700 pages. So that is a nice thing that you can do, but in most of the cases, that is not necessary, but you can do that if you got enough time. Okay, location scouting and considering environmental factors such as location scouting. You can go to the location that you're gonna shoot and maybe have a look around and maybe find out the best place where the light hits the prettiest, maybe you could say. And you can mark that point before you do the video. Okay, lighting, noise, accessibility, aesthetic considered. Okay, ensure well-meshed locations to story, facilitate smooth and successful videography, saves time, maintains consistency, and enhance production. You could say you can save a lot of time if you scout this area before you go to the filming, rather than that is really good. But in certain cases, you just go out there for the first time and you feel you're at lost because you have never been to this place, and now you have to figure out where you should go and what you do. So it's always better to pre-scout these locations before you go there if you're doing a massive production. But yeah, yes. So so this is what we asked after what we've been waiting for, video editing, right? So I'm going to talk about Premiere Pro. I mean, there are specific softwares that I use. I like Premiere Pro, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut Pro. I wouldn't go with the Final Cut Pro because it tends to work with Mac OS, but I'll go ahead with the Premiere Pro, After Effects, and DaVinci. These all software, all of these softwares, they act the same way, but they have like different characteristics, differ from each other, and maybe a little bit. Yeah, the interfaces are quite a bit different, but still they do the same thing. What do you call video editing? Video editing software is a computer-based tool used to edit and manipulate video footage. It allows users to assemble, trim, and add effects and enhance videos, turning raw footages into polished final products. So that is what basically happens in the video production, maybe a video editing software. So you take the footages from these cameras, so you put them on these softwares, and you can get a better outcome. So there's a sequence in this process, and number one, it is important for importing footage, which means the transferring videos files to the editing software from not straight from the camera, but you can have these files in the which are in the camera to your hard drive or SSD preloaded, and you can transfer those files into camera into the computer, and from cameras or storage devices. So organizing the sense you can structure or classify those clips in maybe different clips. Like if you do the production using 3 different cameras, consider this. So you can arrange those clips in different, classify those clips in different folders. So you can hand pick one by one, or so that's going to be like quite easy for the editing software and the computer to identify. So it's going to make the process quite easy, and so thereby you can have a structured workflow and enhance the efficiency and productivity in the video editing. Okay, so assembling clips, adding transitions and basic video cuts. So what do you call assembling clips? So assembling is we were talking about that. We can arrange those clip segments on the timeline. So we know the sequence. We have to know the sequence. So either we have it in our head, or we can write it down in a director's book. So end of the day, you need to know what clip should be here and what should be not. So the sequence can be like quite different. If you so it's not it's, you know, it can be that you recorded one part in one day and the next part in a different day. So you can, you know, which part you recorded first and which part you recorded next, and depending on that, you can add the clips accordingly. So it's all about the sequence you had in your mind before you do the videography session. Okay, so adding transitions. So transitions, in the sense you might know, so in each and every video clip there's a gap, right? So there's a way that you can fill up the gap. Like it could be just straight cutout, or you can make some fade in fade out effect. You can have it in your video clip, just to make it like quite appealing for the viewers. But it depends on the type of video that you are doing, type of video you are producing. Okay, so if it is a movie, it's always better to have better to not have any transition. So you might, so I'm talking about the real life scenario. You must have never seen a video transition. You must have seen like creative ones, but not fade in fade out transitions in Hollywood level movies. So the application itself, it provides these settings to you, so you only have to drag and drop it on your clips, so it's gonna do the magic for you. So that is transitions. So basic video cuts, trimming, removing unwanted parts. So once you put a video on the editing software, it helps you to determine which points you want to have in the video or video. So you are the one in control, so you can trim it down, trim it up, and maybe that way you can remove the unwanted parts. Maybe the parts where the video is like with the footage is quite shaky, beyond repairable. Yeah, there are certain softwares that allows you to stabilize any sort of shake, but there are certain footages that are really hard to stabilize if you have done a very bad job. So it's always better to trim down and trim out the unwanted parts before you put it straight to the sequence. So so consider this: if you once you're done with the video, the visuals, it is essential to have this audio part as well. So as I told you, it's better if you record everything in a nice with a nice microphone. But in certain moments, you don't even need this audio which comes through the microphones. So in that case, you can use either copyrighted or there are copyrighted or uncopyrighted versions of certain musics or songs to make your video quite appealing. And so most of the time those are background music, sound effects, and voiceovers. So you can do a voiceover by yourself, maybe using a nice microphone, and add that straight to your camera, the footage, sorry. So you can actually sync those audio tracks with audio video clips for the clarity and the coherence, and balance audio levels to avoid overpowering or indistinct sounds. So if you have this, if you're gonna have audio, or if you're gonna have your audio like quite high level, it's gonna make a bad impression on the viewers. So it's always better to have this audio soothing in a soothing level, so you can let the audience engage on the video. So use audio to evoke emotions, complement visuals, and improve storytelling, and enhance overall quality, overall video quality, and viewers engagement, as I told. Okay, so exporting videos in different formats, and at the same time, I'm gonna do a tutorial on how to do a basic video editing using the software called Blackmagic. Not Blackmagic, actually, it is DaVinci Resolve 18.5 version, and I'm going to do it afterwards. Okay. So exporting videos in different formats and resolutions. So you might have heard that there's a video resolution called 720p, 1080p, 2K, 4K, and now we got 8K as well, which is really nice, but quite unusable, because even though we got 4K footages from these ones and maybe 8K footages from the camera that I'm recording at the moment, we can't use them. We can use them, but we either way have to downsample it to make it easy for anyone to view from their TVs and computers, because the computers we have now at the moment, even the laptop, even this laptop, it doesn't support 8K. It only supports up to 4K. So no matter if you record this in 8K, you have to downgrade it to 4K. That's a different thing, different story, and entire different theory on that one. And we will discuss that as well. Okay. So exporting videos in different formats and resolutions. Choose appropriate video format. There are formats called MP4, AVI, MOV. Those ones. So MP4, when it comes to MP4, you must have seen MP4 as well. So MP4 that works in many. If the video comes up with the MP4 format, the video works in many computers, many phones, or many devices, you could say. So AVI works in certain computers, but not in every. And many. So MOV also a nice. So actually, MOV doesn't work, and it is not supported for certain softwares. So you should make sure that you do the export in MP4 most of the time, because it's gonna support main screens, main TVs, and maybe smartphones, and as well such stuff. So make sure you record. You can record in H.265 or H.264, but export. I'm talking about export. You can export. You have to export those video files with MP4. So export in sorry, export in various resolutions. So you can. That's what I told you. No matter what, no matter if you record this footage on 8K or 4K, you can always downsample it to 1080p. Maybe if you record it in 8K, you can downsample it to 4K, 2K, 1080p, 720p, and likewise. So it depends on the project actually. So if you're gonna use this for like high-end project, it's always better to record in high resolution and also exporting in a resolution where you can use it. So it's in vain to export it in the same resolution that you record if the device doesn't allow you to show it. Okay, so consider codecs. So I was talking about H.265. Okay, so codecs in the sense, HEVC means that there are certain things called codecs where those codecs have like different color spaces on them. So if you're going to use H.264, it is like quite available on. It is also the same with the MP4 AVI difference. So if you record in H.264, it's going to support like many devices. If you record in HEVC, it's not going to support any. So you have to make sure not every camera records in HEVC. The good thing of recording HEVC is that it's gonna capture a lot of details rather than just the top elements. It's gonna capture everything, every light detail. So it is basically high quality version of capturing. So it depends on the project actually. So if you got a high paid client, you should always choose HEVC and maybe drop it down later when it comes to the exposure. When it comes to the export, so just bitrate for optimal file size and streaming. So even the video right now, even the stream I'm doing right now, we have lowered the bitrate for the optimal smoothness. But if you're gonna record or stream this in 4K, it's gonna lower the bandwidth. Not the bandwidth. It's gonna lower the smoothness, since the bandwidth is really high. The bandwidth is the so you might have the question, what is bandwidth? So bandwidth, it is stack of data that is been transferred in a significant time period. I guess it's 1 second. So if it is 400. That is big compared to 200, right? So it's if you got a high bandwidth data connection, it's fine. You can do you can even transfer, not transfer. You can stream 8K footage as 4K footage as well. But if you have like a really bad cable or low bit rate cable, it is always good to transfer low bit rate footage. Okay, so likewise, so I'm going to talk about uploading videos to social media and video sharing platforms. So what you do afterwards, once you create your video and once you export the video, what you do. So in my case, what I do is either send it straight to my client, or if it is my own project, I'm going to upload it to my YouTube or Instagram or anything. So you have to make sure like each and every platform has different quality. If you just upload a video which is dedicated to be uploaded in YouTube into Instagram, the quality is gonna lose, obviously. So it's always better to know in which platform you're gonna post this. So you have to pre-plan that as well. So check the platform specific guidelines and supported format. So that's what I told you. If you're gonna upload a HEVC file into YouTube, the YouTube isn't gonna recognize this file as a safe one, and it's gonna block it from uploading. So always you should be keen about what you're exporting. So this is all these elements are like interconnected. So if you mess up in the first part, you're gonna mess up everything. So you should be like quite keen about what you're doing. Okay, so compress the video to optimize loading times without compressing the quality. So there are certain software that you can do this. So if you just consider you got a 4K video, okay, so you got a 4K video, but so it might be like maybe 1 GB of size. So it's gonna be really hard for you to upload the video since the size is really high, and it's gonna take a lot of time. Plus, Instagram would not let you upload the video. So it's always better to compress the video losslessly. Lossless in the sense you don't lose any quality. So there are some, when it comes to a video which has been exported like quite recently, there are elements where they just attach to the video, but they are not in use. So there can be like elements, some data that are not being used when it comes to visuals. So there are metadata, but you don't need them. Those are like, unwanted storage, unwanted storage. So all you can do is using a software. Maybe I recommend there's a software, I can't say the name. I can show you in the ending. So this software, by using this software, you can handbrake. That's actually called handbrake. By using the software, you can eliminate or maybe filter out those unwanted files, and you can compress this 1 GB file down to maybe 200 MB. So that's gonna like make your life easy, plus Instagram's life easy, maybe Facebook's life easy, maybe YouTube's life easy. So that you should no, okay. So so if you really want to get the engagements of the crowd that you are after, you should know that there are specific times in a day that the majority of the crowd are gonna watch this video. So you have to make sure that you upload this video on the right time, the right moment, when everybody's awake. And maybe I recommend uploading any video by 7 p.m. when everybody is relaxing. Okay, so when everybody is on their phones. Okay, so it's always nice to engage with the audience by looking at the comments and maybe replying to the comments that they have given. So I don't usually do that. That's a bad point of me. So okay, so I should be working on that. So common mistakes in videography and how to avoid them. So as I told you, if you just don't follow the basic instructions I told you, there could be shaky footages, poor lighting, bad audio, lack of planning if you just do it by in an instance, and over editing. So when it comes to shaky footages, you can always use a tripod. Okay, that's the easiest thing. Most of the amateurs do that using a tripod. And gimbals. It is really there's a learning curve in gimbals, but you can it wouldn't take much long, maybe a week or something, and you get used to it, how to use a gimbal. So if you have the the muscle memory of using a gimbal, all your shots which have been even if you use your bare hands, it's going to look really nice if you have this muscle memory of the gimbal. Okay, then and the steady hands. And there are certain techniques I told you. You can tucking down and maybe using your both your hands and maybe controlling your breathing. Once you do that, you can maybe no vigorous movements, maybe smooth movements. If you are well trained on that part, you can take, you can eliminate the shaky footage mistake. Okay, so poor lighting, you control lighting conditions. You should learn how to use these sort of lights and maybe control them. Maybe there are some equipments you can use reflectors and artificial lights such as this, and make sure you learn the stuff. And bad audio too. The main the reason why you get bad audio is that you guys tend to use the microphone which comes with the camera, but when it comes to professional grade video recording and video editing, it is always required to use a microphone rather than letting your camera record by its open ports. And you have to monitor the recording levels. There have been you have to check the gains of the audio levels. So if you let your mic enter huge noise, maybe a lot of audio levels gonna mess up the whole video, maybe the audio. So you should make sure that you get the right amount of audio frequencies to your microphone. And lack of planning, as I told you, it's always better to go ahead, forecast, foresight what's going on, rather than going to the venue and be oblivious on what's going on. And or editing. So you should keep everything. So if you take the video really well, and if you do the lighting well, if you are like quite okay with the ISO settings and everything, you might have, if you got everything set up, you don't have to do the editing at all. So there are moments where you have to add this noise reduction, maybe a little bit of noise reduction, maybe some color grading here and there. Otherwise, you don't have to do any sort of video color grading rather than video color grading. So I was about to say, but still you have to do the sequence matching. Okay, so if you have taken like quite a bit of videos here and there, you have to match it up well. That's up to you. So because you are the one who did the video, you had it on your mind, so it is your responsibility to have the video clips on a sequence. Okay, moving on. So we'll have a question and answers session for now, and yeah, we'll go ahead. If you got any questions, please let me know, and I'll try to answer any. Okay. Hello. Does any of you have questions? No, I hope not. Okay. Okay. No one got questions. So thank you, Malati, for inviting me to this session. And thank you. All right, see you around. Bye.
Thank you අයියා. Thank you for joining. And අද session එකට අප හැමෝටම thank you. මෙච්චර ළඟට ඇත්තටම අයියා මේ ගොඩක් valuable session එක. ගොඩක් මේ thank you ආවට. Thank you මේ invitation එක accept කරාට.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for inviting me as well. Okay. Hi. Okay.
Okay, so good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you.